Hi, my name is Tom Hadding and I'm the author and creator of this new YouTube channel dedicated to mixed martial arts and to boxing. Today we're looking at the celebrated Filipino super bantamweight, a multi-division world champion, Riel Casimero. This is part an analysis of his movement across the different weight classes, and we also have a first podcast. So of course, for those who don't recognize him, this is Riel Casimero. So Casimero's career. Riel Casimero has held world championships in 3 weight classes. Light flyweight, that's 108 pounds, flyweight 112 pounds, and bantamweight 118 pounds. So his career has seen him move up and down weight classes, experiencing both triumphs and setbacks. So those are 3 really important weights: light flyweight 108, flyweight 112, bantamweight 118. Casimero began his professional career fighting at flyweight and light flyweight. He won the Philippines Boxing Federation, the PBF flyweight title in 2008. He then moved down to light flyweight, winning the vacant WBO Asia Pacific light flyweight title. Then he won his first world title, the interim WBO light flyweight title in 2009. He defeated Cesar Canchila. This victory was notable as it was his first fight outside of his home country. He lost the interim title in his first defense against Ramon Garcia Hirales. In 2011, he challenged Maruti Mathaleni for the IBF flyweight title, but lost via stoppage in the 5th round. This was his second career loss. He then returned to light flyweight and championship success. He returned to light flyweight in 2012 and won the IBF interim light flyweight title by beating Luis Alberto Lazarte. Of course, this took place 2012 in Argentina, and it led to such difficult circumstances. There was a riot by the Argentinian fans. Casimero and his team were lucky to get out alive. Now, the victory was marred by a post-fight riot where Casimero and his team were attacked by fans. He was elevated to the full IBF light flyweight champion title that year. He successfully defended the title 3 times before moving back up to flyweight. In 2015, he challenged Amnot Ruenroeg for the IBF flyweight title, but he lost via a controversial unanimous decision. Now, he avenged this loss in a 2016 rematch, knocking out Ruenroeg to win the IBF flyweight title. This made him a 2-division world champion. He successfully defended the title twice, including a notable victory against the undefeated Charlie Edwards. Then he moved up to bantamweight in 2019 and won the WBO interim bantamweight title by defeating Ricardo Espinoza Franco. This marked his first fight in the USA. He then won the full WBO bantamweight title later that year with a knockout victory over Zulani Teti that took place in Birmingham, UK. This victory made him a 3-division world champion. Casimero successfully defended the title twice. In 2022, he was stripped of the title after violating medical guidelines by using a sauna to cut weight before a scheduled fight. Casimero then moved up to super bantamweight in 2022, where he fights now. He won the WBO Global Super Bantamweight title in 2023. His career continued with mixed results, including a technical draw and a first-round knockout victory in 2023 and 2024, respectively. He was subsequently suspended by the Japan Boxing Commission for exceeding the weight limit. So throughout his career, Casimero has demonstrated his power with high knockout percentage across different weight classes. He has a high percentage, 68%. Currently ranked 7 by the WBO, 10 by the IBF, and 7 by the WBC at super bantamweight. Now, this is for your future reference. These are all the Wikipedia insertions about his career, his boxing record. So this is fight 1 to 11. No losses. Fight 12 to 22. He had losses against Hirales and Mathaleni. Fights 23 to 33. He lost first fight to Ruenroeg, but then won the return, and he then had a loss to Jonas Sultan. And this is his last 6, all victorious. What we're going to do now is we're going to play a podcast.
It has been.
It's not just wins and losses.
No.
This is a story.
Absolutely.
Oh.
What gets me right away is this guy is 34 years old.
Okay.
Just won a fight, first round knockout, boom.
Yeah.
But then gets a 1-year suspension in Japan
What?
for not making weight.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean,
How does that even happen?
talk about mixed signals, right?
Wow.
Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, and then on top of that, you've got the WBO and the WBC. They've got him ranked number 7 in the world.
Okay.
But some of the other organizations don't even have him ranked.
Right.
What's that about?
Well, I think it really shows you that boxing's not just about who you beat.
Right.
It's about consistency and playing by the rules.
Yeah.
And those are two things that he's struggled with a little bit. I mean, but you're talking about a 3-weight class champion here.
Oh, yeah.
IBF junior flyweight, IBF flyweight, and the WBO bantamweight titles. Not a lot of guys can say that.
No, not at all. But then this weight thing keeps coming up.
Yeah.
Is it a discipline issue? Is it something else?
You know.
I mean, the guy's nicknamed Quadro Alas.
Right.
That's 4 aces in Tagalog. Does that tell us anything?
I think that's a pretty interesting choice for a nickname. I mean, you don't see a lot of Filipino boxers going for something so symbolic.
Right.
So, maybe it's 4 strength that he's got in his fighting style.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just 4 parts of his personality that he brings into the ring with him.
Well, we've got to talk about the power. I mean, 23 out of 34 wins by knockout.
Yeah.
What are the other aces? Is it speed, technique, mental toughness?
Well, it's really hard to say without watching him.
Yeah.
But, the name itself makes me think there's got to be something more to him.
Right.
Than just raw power. It makes it sound like there's some strategy involved.
Yeah.
Like he's got some versatility.
Okay, now speaking of wild moments, we've got to bring up the Lazard riot back in 2012.
Oh, yeah?
Casimero, he wins the IBF interim junior flyweight title in Argentina, knocks out Luis Alberto Lazarte, and then all of a sudden, it's pandemonium.
Yeah.
The fans rush the ring. They start attacking Casimero and his team. This wasn't just a little brawl.
Oh, no.
This was an international incident.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Philippines even went and filed a diplomatic protest.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I think it just goes to show how much passion there is in boxing culture.
Yeah.
Especially when we're talking about national pride.
Uh-huh.
So, there was definitely some bad blood between the fighters even before the match.
Okay, so we're kind of seeing a trend here, right? A lot of talent, but also this tendency to get mixed up in drama.
Yeah.
Let's talk about those 2 fights against Emnot Ruanrong.
Oh, yeah.
For the IBF flyweight title. The first one was super controversial.
It was. A lot of people thought that Casimero had done enough to win that fight.
Yeah.
But the judges gave it to Ruanrong.
Okay.
It was a big debate.
Really?
In the boxing world for a while there. Some people thought it was a straight-up robbery.
Uh-huh.
Others weren't so sure.
Okay. But Casimero comes back for the rematch, knocks Ruanrong out cold in the 4th round.
Absolutely. I mean, he just dropped him with this vicious left hook to the body.
Oh, wow.
Sent him crumpling to the canvas.
Oof.
Talk about a statement win, right?
Yeah, it shows resilience, a willingness to learn from his setbacks.
Absolutely.
And, of course, that knockout power.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he's got a YouTube channel.
He does?
Apparently almost 90,000 subscribers.
Yep.
I'm curious, what kind of stuff is he putting out there?
It's really a mixed bag.
Okay.
He's got vlogs, training footage. He's even got some comedy sketches up there.
Really?
So it seems like he really likes to connect with fans in all these different ways.
Which is interesting because he was actually going to fight a YouTuber. Yeah. At one point, what happened there?
The WBO stepped in.
Oh, really?
They were like, no. You're a world champion. You can't be out here doing exhibition matches, trying to, keep the integrity of the sport.
Yeah, that makes sense. But we've got to talk about these legal charges against him for acts of lasciviousness and sexual assault. I mean, these are serious allegations.
They are. And it's important to remember that he hasn't been convicted of anything yet.
Right.
So we'll just have to see how that whole process plays out.
So what are we looking at here? We got a guy, champion in the ring.
Yep.
Controversial outside of it.
Uh-huh.
Now he's facing some major legal issues. What a story.
Not your average boxer.
Not at all.
And that's what makes him so interesting.
All right. So far, we've learned that John Riel Casimero, he's a bundle of contradictions. He's achieved amazing things, but he's also made some pretty questionable choices. But his story doesn't end there. Stick with us because we're going to dig even deeper
Absolutely.
into the career of this really enigmatic fighter.
Yeah, next time we're going to rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at some of his most important fights.
Okay.
Those moments that really made him who he is as a boxer.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our deep dive on John Riel Casimero.
All right, so we've got championships, controversies, that whole YouTube thing.
Yeah.
But now I want to rewind a bit.
Okay.
What were some of the early fights that really shaped him?
One that stands out to me is the Cesar Canchilla fight.
Okay.
Back in 2009, it was for the interim WBO light flyweight title.
Okay.
And it was his first time fighting outside the Philippines.
So the pressure's on new territory? What happens?
He dominated.
Right.
I mean, knocked Canchilla down multiple times.
Wow.
Before getting the TKO in the 11th round.
So that's a big win?
Yeah, that was a statement for sure. And it put him on the map internationally.
Okay.
People started to see this young fighter with serious knockout power.
Uh-huh.
But I think more than that.
Yeah.
He showed he could adapt
to
a hostile environment.
So it wasn't just about the power. There was a mental game going on, too.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's the Lazard fight we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah.
The one in Argentina that turned into a riot.
It's legendary at this point.
It really is.
You know, it's part of his story adds to this image that he's not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
But what was the actual boxing like in that fight?
Well, it was a brawl.
Okay.
Both guys were just swinging for the fences.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
Casimero got the knockout in the 10th. But it was a messy fight. Lots of clinching.
Yeah.
Some questionable tactics on both sides.
So maybe this gives us some insight into what those four aces are.
Yeah.
Raw power, obviously, but also this willingness to get rough,
Uh-huh.
push the boundaries.
Maybe.
But if we want to see his technical side, his adaptability,
Yeah.
we got to look at those Ruin Ring fights.
Yeah. Those two fights.
Those IBF title bouts, the first one was so controversial.
It was.
And then the second one, brutal knockout.
Exactly. That first fight, Casimero was using his jab really well, keeping Ruin at a distance, landing some good combinations.
Right.
But Ruin was crafty, you know?
Yeah.
Veteran, he managed to tie Casimero up, slow down the pace.
So even though a lot of people thought that Casimero won,
Right.
Ruin edged it out on the scorecards.
That's how it goes sometimes.
But then the rematch, Casimero changed things up.
Completely different approach. He wasn't just boxing.
Yeah.
He was hunting for that knockout.
Mm-hmm.
And he found it.
And he found it, yeah.
That left hook to the liver.
In the fourth, devastating.
It was brutal.
Break that down for me. What makes a liver shot so effective?
It's all about the nerves.
Okay.
A good liver shot
Mhm.
just shuts down your body.
Wow.
You know, even if you think you can tough it out, you just can't.
So again, we've got the knockout power, but we also have this strategic shift,
Yeah.
this ability to adapt and just go for the finish.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Now, when we're talking about Casimero's strengths,
Uh-huh.
it's not just about the power, it's the speed of his hands. The way he moves in and out of range,
Yeah,
it makes him so unpredictable.
definitely.
But he's got to have some weaknesses, right? I mean, no fighter's perfect.
Well, I've noticed when he gets frustrated,
Yeah.
he can get a little wild,
Okay.
you know, abandon the game plan, just try to overpower his opponent.
Which probably leaves him open
Yeah.
to counterpunches.
Exactly. And then there's the weight issue,
Yeah.
which isn't just about making weight for the fight.
Right.
It's about discipline and keeping your body in top condition.
Uh-huh.
And that's something that's followed him throughout his career.
So, incredible natural talent, capable of both technical boxing and just brutal knockouts.
Yeah.
But sometimes he gets in his own way.
I think that's a good way to put it.
And now at 34, with this recent suspension, it really makes you wonder,
What's next?
what does the future hold for John Riel Casimero?
Yeah, that's the big question. And that's what we're going to explore in the final part of our deep dive.
All right, we're back. And I think it's safe to say this deep dive into John Riel Casimero's career. It's been a wild one.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen the highs, the lows, the talent, the contradictions, but now the big question is what's next?
It's hard to say, you know. This 1-year suspension from Japan, that's a huge setback, especially at this point in his career.
He's going to be 35 soon. I mean, that's not old for boxing.
Right.
But it's definitely a turning point.
Absolutely.
You know, you start thinking about legacy, how much time is left.
For sure. And he's said that he wants to unify the bantamweight titles. And to do that, he's got to be active. He's got to be winning.
Yeah.
He's got to be in top form.
Right.
This suspension kind of throws a wrench in all of that.
So if we're talking comeback strategy, what needs to happen? What are the first steps?
Well, the weight issue has got to be addressed.
Right.
Plain and simple, no more slip-ups.
Right.
It's not just about making weight. It's about showing that he's got the discipline, the commitment to be at the top.
Showing respect for the sport, for his opponents.
Exactly. And he needs the right people around him. A good team, trainers, managers, people who will keep him focused and accountable.
You know, it's interesting looking back at his career. It almost feels like that kind of support system hasn't always been there.
It's tough to say from the outside, but consistency has definitely been an issue.
Yeah.
And that could be for all sorts of reasons, including the people he's surrounded himself with.
And maybe even his fighting style needs to evolve. That knockout power is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But as he gets older, relying on just that could be a problem.
Oh, for sure. He needs to become more well-rounded.
Okay.
Work on his defense, his stamina.
Yeah.
You know, just that overall ring generalship.
He can't just be the knockout artist anymore.
Yeah.
He needs to be a boxer.
Yeah.
Who can outsmart his opponents.
Absolutely.
Thinking about those 4 aces again, we've got power. But what else does he need to really be dominant at this point?
Well, I think ring IQ is huge. Being able to read your opponent, you know, anticipate their moves, adjust your strategy.
Yeah, and discipline, inside and outside the ring.
For sure. And that mental toughness, being able to come back from setbacks, you know, stay hungry, keep pushing forward.
No, we can't forget about those legal issues we talked about. Those are some serious allegations.
They are. And no matter what happens, they could have a huge impact on his career.
It's definitely a cloud hanging over him.
Oh, yeah.
And the longer it goes on, the more of a distraction it becomes.
Absolutely.
So we've got a fighter at a crossroads here. He's got the talent, but he's got some baggage.
Yeah.
Literal and metaphorical.
Right. So the question is, can he channel all of that, the good, the bad, everything he's learned, into one last act that defies the odds?
It makes you think.
It does.
Can John Riel Casimero rewrite his own ending? Can he pull off this comeback and unify those titles?
It's a long shot, but he's proven us wrong before.
We've given you the facts, the analysis, the different perspectives. Now it's up to you listening to decide. What's your take on Casimero's future?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back soon to explore another fascinating story.
Until then, keep those questions coming. Keep digging deeper, and we'll see you next time.
Well, that was an interesting podcast. Hope you liked it. If you like the channel, please remember to subscribe, to like, and please leave a comment. They're really important.